So it's been over 2 weeks since my last update, which I believe is the longest I've gone without putting up a video, which concerned a lot of you. And I thank you. I just read all your comments. Thank you so much for your concern. Didn't mean to scare anyone. A lot has happened, and I will be revealing all of that in the coming episodes. So stay tuned for that. But let's go back and begin where we left off, which was, let's see, where were we? The White Mountains. So I'm here at the Hikers Welcome Hostel in Glencliff, New Hampshire, at the base of the Whites. We'll be entering them today, and it'll start with Mount Moosilauke, which I'm so excited. I don't think I've been this excited since I was a little kid going to an amusement park. The climbs here on Mount Moosilauke have really gotten intense. I mean, we're going pretty much from right away. We started with a really extreme incline, and it just hasn't stopped. We're just coming out of the trees now. We're officially above tree line. Oh, and there are the cairns. You can see the stacked rocks there. Those are our guides posts now, the weight blazes. Sometimes they're painted on rocks below, but for the most part now it's the cairns, the stacked rocks that lead us how we're supposed to go. And they really don't want you to get off trail because this vegetation is so fragile up here. And I just turned around and wow. Gosh, I wish you could. I wish you could feel the magnitude of it. I whew. Haven't had a view like this since the Smokies. It's just it's beyond. I know you can't see it through the lens here, but to be surrounded by it is just magnificent. So I've been debating whether or not to show this next clip, which is really quite sad. It's been told that there was a moose on top of Moosilauke, and it was a young moose that had come up there to die. And when we were going down, we did run into it, and it was just the saddest thing. The authorities have a policy that they do not euthanize an animal, even though it's obvious that this one is dying and just suffering. And it was there for, this was at least the sixth day it had been up there, just sitting there like this. And they just, I understand why they want to let nature take its course, but it was really difficult to watch. So after Mount Moosilauke, we ended up back at the Hikers Welcome Hostel for one more evening, where we rested up and got ready to hike the Kinsmans. The Kinsman Mountain, both the north and the south peak, are on the Appalachian Trail and are really intense. We found that there weren't as many great views as there were on Moosilauke, and that partially may have been because it was overcast a lot, but we also found that the intensity level of the inclines was continuing. I mentioned before that we've been running into people that we haven't seen in a while, and for those of you that have been following me, and from the beginning, you may remember Dr. G, who I hiked with him in many miles early on in the South, and haven't seen for a while, but have been running into the last couple hundred miles. So it's been great to see Dr. G again. By the time we got to the peaks of the Kinsmans, the fog had rolled in and it was overcast, and these were the views we were getting. So we didn't really spend a lot of time up there, but came down the mountain and got a shuttle into the town of Lincoln, New Hampshire, which is just a beautiful little resort town nestled into the White Mountains that I highly recommend you visiting. It's just a beautiful town, but because of its beauty and its proximity to the White Mountains, it's extremely expensive. We had looked at a hotel and it was going to be 150 that night. So we heard about a guy named Chet who opens up his home to hikers. And it's a donation based little hostel he runs in his garage. And it was just such a godsend. He doesn't advertise in any of the books that I know of because apparently I think there's been people that have just tried to get in there that aren't hikers just to get a free night in Lincoln because it's so expensive in the hotel. So he actually, it's quite a fun process. He actually meets you as you come into up his driveway. He meets you there. He's sitting there and he's pretty intense, and he'll quiz you about the trail. And if you don't have the right answers, you're not staying there. And this was Slip and Slide and Good Boy coming in and getting the quiz, and I'm happy to say they passed.
Southbound. You're flip-flopping, so where did you start your trail?
We started in Holland, New York.
Holland, New York. What was the last mountain you just came off of?
Just came off of Mount Moosilauke.
Mount Moosilauke, so what would be the next one you're going over?
That'd be the
Why are you
Kinsmans.
answering all the questions?
Once you get through the interrogation, however, it's just such a warm and welcoming environment. Chet has really created an environment that we just feel so much at home there, and I just had a great time with my fellow hikers. So thanks so much, Chet. And Chet's place is really close to the downtown, which I was going to, and ran into some more familiar faces from the past, which you'll probably remember if you've been following me from the beginning. Mouse and Sherpa Crow from my group with them and Napster back in Virginia. We hiked probably a month or so together. Ran into them here, and it was just so great to see them and reconnect. And they're here with Helter Skelter and Long Cloud. So the next episode is going to focus on Franconia Ridge, which is one of the highlights of the Appalachian Trail. And it'll be up in a few days. I promise not to make you wait as long as I did for this episode, but this is one not to be missed.